Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Africa Tech-Kin right here on ZFM Stereo, my station, your station. My name is Danny That Guy, and I am your designated host as we try and traverse this sometimes complicated jungle that is the world of technology. We have a landmark show for you today. A lot of news coming through from technology standpoint here in Zimbabwe. History was made today, actually, as Zimbabwe officially stepped into the future with the approval of the national AI policy. The news just came out from the post-cabinet briefing. We're going to analyze that and what exactly the details are. We're also going to be discussing the upcoming National Cybersecurity Conference happening tomorrow. Yours truly will be present. So we're going to take a look at that and view why it is a major milestone in the discussions that we're having about the technology here in Zimbabwe. We're going to talk about e-passport issuance. We're going to talk about some of the big stories in education technology. And we're also going to take a look at some global news regarding the end of possibly the most popular operating system use in Zimbabwe. We'll discuss that more as we get into the show. We would love for you to be part of the conversation. So please feel free to get in touch via our WhatsApp platform. The number is 0772-168-045. Or if you prefer, in fact, we would all prefer if you use your favorite social media platform and just use the hashtag AfricaTechKin, the name of this show, Africa Tech-Kin. That's K-I-N, because as we say, we're all a family, and technology is what connects us. So, all right, plenty of us to get through. So let's get straight into our top story right now, our big story that came out, perhaps the biggest tech news story of the year so far. And that's today, October 14th, the Zimbabwean cabinet made a huge announcement that they are officially approving the country's first ever national artificial intelligence policy. It's a strategic roadmap about how we as a country are going to be implementing, using, governing AI in Zimbabwe. Let me not be the one to announce it. Let's hear from the Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Honorable Jenfan Muswere, as he mentioned it, as well as outlining some of the initiatives straight after today's post-cabinet briefing.
The Zimbabwe National Artificial Intelligence Strategy will be anchored by 6 pillars, namely artificial intelligence, talent and capacity development, the national artificial intelligence infrastructure and computational sovereignty, artificial intelligence adoption and service transformation, governance, ethics and regulatory framework, research, development and innovation, and the strategic international collaboration and diplomacy. In order to accelerate the implementation of the strategy, 5 flagship initiatives have been proposed as follows. The Zimbabwe Artificial Grant Challenge, which is a national competition to spur innovation and offer solutions to pressing national challenges utilizing artificial intelligence. The National Artificial Intelligence and Data Platform, which is the project Pangolin Haka Inkaka, a centralized platform to provide access to data and computational resources for researchers and innovators. The Nzwisiso National Literacy Campaign to educate citizens about the benefits and risks of artificial intelligence, and the National Artificial Intelligence Regulatory Sandbox, the Innovation Crucible Umthombo Wolwazi, a safe space for startups and researchers to test new artificial intelligence focused startups and research projects. In addition, the National Digital Regulatory Committee under the Postal and Telecommunications Regulatory Authority of Zimbabwe, POTRAS, and the Artificial Intelligence Strategy Implementation Office within the Ministry of Information, Communication, Technology, Postal and Courier Services will be established to ensure effective implementation of the strategy.
Incredible stuff coming through from the Information Minister, Honorable Jenfan Muswere, as he outlines these 5 pillars that he mentioned. Let's actually unpack them. He spoke about the Zimbabwe Artificial Grant Challenge. Basically, we're looking at a national competition to try and spark innovation in the realm of AI. He also spoke about the National AI and Data Platform that's called Project Pangolin. This data, obviously, data is the fuel for AI. So the idea is to create the centralized, secure repository of anonymized data from all the various sectors that exist so that they can be used by researchers and developers to train AI models, to be used in AI development and so on. And I like the name, the uniquely African name, Project Pangolin. He also spoke about the Nzwisiso National Literacy Campaign, obviously talking about a public awareness campaign to try and demystify AI and to help the public understand what is going on. Of course, we can expect that there's many people who are citizens of the country at the moment who perhaps don't know the full scope of what AI is doing. He mentions the National AI Regulatory Sandbox. This one is very interesting, an innovation crucible, as it's also called. A sandbox is a controlled environment where one can experiment and do all kinds of things without breaking important things. It's a place for innovators to be able to test AI products on real-world scenarios, real people, see what works and what doesn't. I think this is crucial, and I love to hear that this is part of the national AI policy as well. It allows for innovation without stifling the experiments because, oh no, you might break something. So yes, excellent. The innovation crucible is a great addition, I think, to that policy. And then finally, he also mentions the National Digital Regulatory Committee, which will be overseen by POTRAZ, our regulator here in the country. So they will be specifically tasked with developing and enforcing the rules for AI. So this has just been announced. Of course, we know that this national AI policy has been in the works under the Ministry of ICT, Postal and Courier Services. In fact, at the post-cabinet briefing, the Minister of ICT, Postal and Courier Services, Honorable Tatenda Mavetera, also explained a little bit more about this national ICT policy. Take a listen.
For us, we are very happy for this great milestone as a country. Being included on part of the 16 countries in Africa who already have got existing policies in terms of artificial intelligence. The low-hanging fruits, as a country, we feel there is great need. We have got a resource of intellectual capacity, which is quite advanced from our young people, and that is one of the greatest hanging fruits that we have. When you look at it, we've got a program which we're going to be launching, which is called Pangolin Haka. And on this program, what we want to do is we're going to be creating a centralized platform where young people can then be able to access data and resources to do with how they can invest more in terms of artificial intelligence. So there we are going to see them coming up with computational resources. We are going to see them even coming up with even access to a lot of licenses which are becoming very difficult for young people to access. So therefore there we are going to see young people becoming innovators, investing more, coming up with AI-centered startups. We also see an opportunity for enhancing our e-government systems. I'm glad to say that we have already concluded on our investment, on our enterprise architecture modeling, and as a country, there is great need for us to have to have more systems in terms of our government, making sure that at least they become more digitalized as ever. So therefore, with the coming of this strategy, we feel that there is great need for us to invest greatly on our e-government system, and we see that there is also that great opportunity.
Yes, exciting time. So we've known this national artificial intelligence policy has been in the works under the Ministry of ICT, Postal and Courier Services for a while. It's been discussed and it's been shared with various stakeholders. So now that it's officially been approved, we'll be looking forward to seeing how it's going to be implemented. And of course, this is not the only show we're going to have about it. We're hopefully going to be able to speak to representatives from the ministry to expound a little bit more about this AI policy that's going to be essentially governing AI in Zimbabwe. This is exciting because it basically positions Zimbabwe alongside not very many African countries that have implemented a national AI policy. Other countries like Egypt, Mauritius, Kenya, Rwanda, those are the ones that have implemented such, and we are among the first few countries in Africa that have done the same. So it's going to be great to see how this is implemented. Let's hope the innovators and the smart minds are already working on how we can start innovating with the help of this national artificial intelligence policy. Interesting and exciting times. Let's move on to our next story, of course. As much as there's always going to be talk about ICT and various incredible digital progress projects that we're looking at, we also have to consider security. Anytime you're going to have a conversation about technology and digital progress, security is extremely important. And on that note, We are excited for tomorrow's National Cybersecurity Conference and Expo 2025. That's happening tomorrow. I will be there present. If you're only listening to this show or watching this show after the fact, then next week's show will have a deep dive as to what was discussed at the conference. But the point is, AB Communications is in partnership with the Ministry of ICT, Postal and Courier Services. And tomorrow we will be there paying close attention to what the country has in store with regards to cybersecurity. Now, this is obviously an important conversation as Zimbabwe's digital footprint expands, as we engage in more and more digital e-government systems, and as we get more and more data available on these digital platforms, then it's very important that we try and minimize what they call the attack surface for cyber criminals. It's very important that we secure all this data of all the citizens, as well as all the potentially millions, if not billions of dollars that will be flowing through these digital systems. Recently, reports in the region of Africa have seen sharp increases in various cyber criminal attacks, and we've spoken about them on this show as well. Things like phishing attacks, ransomware, mobile money fraud. These things are on the rise. So it is so important right now that we actually pay a lot of attention to cybersecurity. We expect that the conference tomorrow is going to focus very heavily on fintech and banking, as well as government systems and data protection regulations, including a deep dive into the Cyber and Data Protection Act. We're also going to hear from some of the various firms and companies that are very much involved with all these various technologies and what systems they've put in place for cyber protection. In fact, according to a report not too long ago, 2 years ago, by Interpol, Africa experienced an estimated $4 billion in losses due to cybercrime. Part of that is our very own country here in Zimbabwe. So what an important conference, and I look forward to sharing with you some of the information that comes forward from that conference tomorrow. Speaking of e-government services, we got news this week as well that one of the government digital services are working hard, and they've got a milestone that they would like to report. The government has officially issued over 1.6 million e-passports. This information came from an interview with the Registrar General, Mr. Henry Machiri, in an interview with a local paper, where he mentioned some of these milestones, including, as of October 10th, he said 1,687,899 e-passports being issued to the country. That's depending on what numbers you're going to be using, of course, for the official population of Zimbabwe. That's somewhere in the region of 10% of the population having these e-passports. And it's not just here in Zimbabwe. He also mentioned that they've announced plans for these new e-passport offices in Gaborone, Botswana, and London, UK, to be open before the year end to better serve those in the diaspora. So we did say that this show pays close attention to which government offices and public offices are engaging in these various technologies, and this is one that we're paying attention to as well. 1.6 million e-passports, almost 1.7 million. That's a big milestone and something to celebrate. All right. We're going to take a quick break. We've discussed some dense stories and some dense information. After the break, we'll come back with some more Africa Tech Kin. So please stick around. The hashtag, by the way, is Africa Tech Kin, K-I-N, because we're all a family and technology is what connects us. My name is Danny That Guy. Stick around. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to the Africa Tech Kin right here on ZFM Stereo. I'm your host, Danny That Guy, and what a pleasure it is to be sitting down with you every week as we do on a Tuesday straight after the news at 7 p.m. and unpacking some of the biggest technology stories from Zimbabwe, the region, and really the globe. We've got some more stories to talk about, so please feel free to contribute. The number once again is 0772-168-045. Route 1 straight into the studio via the WhatsApp channel, or you can of course use your favorite social media platform of choice. Use the hashtag AfricaTechKin, and we can keep the conversations going long after this show. So let's pay a little bit of attention to technology in education. There's two stories that I found very interesting that I'd like to talk about this week. First of all, we got news this week that POSB, the People's Own Savings Bank, launched a massive $8.7 million funding facility for schools to fund them in being able to get Starlink internet kits and the solar power to be able to power those kits and the technology associated with them. So, of course, as you can imagine, in many places across the country, they don't have solid access to the internet, and that puts so many people behind as the world continues to move in the digital frontier. So we love to see the solution, provide solar and provide Starlink. Starlink is ideal for some of these remote places that are around in these schools. This initiative was officially launched earlier this week by the Primary and Secondary Education Minister, Torirai Moyo, and he spoke at this particular launch. And also speaking at this launch was the POSB CEO, Mr. Garainashe Changunda, and he gives the reason why they made this launch. He says, our objective is to bridge the digital connectivity and energy access gaps that persist between rural and urban schools, ensuring equitable access to modern learning environments for all. And he pointed to the more than 60% of rural schools in the country that have no access to stable power supplies, and over 70% that have no access to internet connectivity. So we're looking to see POSB targeting at least 400 schools, 2,700 households, and 400 SMEs to get these power kits and Starlink kits by 2027. So massive props to POSB for actually assisting in trying to make this equalization of access to these technologies. Speaking of technology and education, I had the privilege last week of attending the official launch last week of a new system, an education technology platform called Sigma 366 that was supported by the Ministry of ICT, Postal and Courier Services, and the launch of this particular system, as well as support, by the way, by the British Embassy, and the launch of the system to try and assist schools in modernizing the way that they do their work. The platform is designed to be able to sort of manage teachers, curricula, students, and parents together in a seamless way. I thought I was quite impressed with how they put it together. And it's exciting to see local entrepreneurs building these solutions to the problems that affect the country as a whole. So it was also good to see the presence of the Ministry of ICT, Postal and Courier Services. The Permanent Secretary, Dr. Beulah Chirume, was present, and she also expressed her appreciation for local entrepreneurs coming up with these solutions for local problems. In fact, here's a little bit of a snippet of what went down at this event.
This event is not just celebrating the birth of a new product or app, because of course it is an AI-based app, but it is about celebrating our Zimbabwean innovation, youth entrepreneurship, and our collective commitment to a digitally inclusive future.
The platform has algorithms that drive analytics, which then comes out as AI-driven learner analysis. So it takes all the information from when the learner started education, from as early as grade 1, and then look at all the trends, and then be able to predict the next possible outcomes. So it gives you all that deeper analytics that as a human being with your mind, you can't be able to pick all the pieces.
Congratulations to Sigma 366 for the launch, and really this is hopefully something that encourages other local entrepreneurs to come up with these solutions, technology solutions locally, made for local problems, and we hope to see more of these. Of course, that's not by no means the only one out there in EdTech. There's several other solutions at addressing various issues within education technology, so it's good to have local entrepreneurs doing what they do to solve the problems. Okay, let's take a moment to talk a little bit about some international technology news. We're in October, and October 2025 is in many people's technology calendar for one reason. That is because that is officially the time that Microsoft confirmed that it will be ending all support for Windows 10. All support means critical security updates, as well as the general updates that they do for Windows 10, the operating system that is quite probably the most used operating system in the country. Now, here's the situation. The current operating system from Windows, the replacement for Windows 10 is Windows 11. Windows 11 has somewhat strict hardware requirements. The hardware requirements we're talking about is the need of a specific chip within the PC or the laptop. It's called the TPM 2.0 chip. If you don't have that chip, then supposedly it's very difficult to install Windows 11. Don't worry, a lot of very enterprising and clever people have figured out workarounds. But in terms of officially installing it, if you don't have that specific security chip, then it's going to be very difficult for you to install Windows 11. So many computers in the country are still using Windows 10 as the most recent operating system that they have access to. Also, if you have relatively older CPUs, we're talking 8th generation and before, or AMD Zen 2 and before, if you have those chips, then it's likely that you haven't found it easy to upgrade to Windows 11. So you're probably on Windows 10. And my sources tell me that many computers here in Zimbabwe are still actually Windows Vista or Windows XP, and support for those ended a long time ago. So what does this mean? Well, it doesn't mean that your computer won't work. It will still work, But as time goes on, they become more and more vulnerable to security exploits and to potentially being hacked. So it's always suggested that you're on the latest operating system and you're regularly updating it to ensure that those critical patches and security updates are installed. But if they're not, then you might find yourself in a difficult situation. And especially if that computer you're using has critical information on it or critical server systems on it, please be aware that if you're still running Windows 10 this month, it officially ends, or Microsoft officially ends support for Windows 10. Okay, we've discussed a lot on the show today. I think that's all the time that we have for this week. We spoke about the national AI policy setting the stage for Zimbabwe's future and for Zimbabwean entrepreneurs to start investing and learning about and potentially creating new products within the AI space. So, of course, that's another story that we'll be paying a lot of attention to as we go forward. We spoke about how some local companies are working towards providing connectivity for rural schools, and that's a great initiative, and we hope we see more of that going forward, as well as some local entrepreneurs who've come up with solutions specific for Zimbabwe's market. It's great to hear that. And of course, the warning that comes through from the global support of Windows 10. Now, by the way, just to quickly mention, there are ways, I believe that Microsoft have said that some of their paid customers can have an additional year of support. But in terms of the official date of ending of support for Windows 10, that is happening this month, October 2025. The key takeaway from our show today: technology is moving ever faster, ever forward. The pace of technology is relentless. So don't worry, we're here to help you keep up and make sure that you know what's happening in the world of technology. It may be daunting, but it creates immense opportunities for those who are willing to take risks and to be able to learn about what is happening. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What are your thoughts on the national AI policy? Did you understand what it's about? Do you want to hear more information about it? Please let us know. What about the idea of introducing internet and power to rural schools? What are your thoughts on that? Very interesting discussions that we're having here. And are you still using Windows 10 on your computer? Does this make you worried? Please get in touch on 0772 168 045 or use the hashtag AfricaTechKin. Don't forget, you can watch the video version of this show. It will be available on YouTube shortly after it airs here on ZFM Stereo. Also, you can listen to the episode on ZFM Stereo's Current Affairs podcast. So whatever app you use to listen to podcasts, just search for ZFM Stereo Current Affairs, and it will also be available shortly after the airing of this show on ZFM Stereo Live. All right, never miss an episode of the Africa Tech Kin. I've been your host, Danny That Guy. What an absolute pleasure being with you this week. We'll be back again next week, Tuesday, same time, straight after the news at 7 p.m., all the way down to 7:30 p.m. But Current Affairs does not end right now. Patience Musa is coming through next. She'll be hosting Backstage here on ZFM Stereo, so don't go anywhere. And of course, Current Affairs continues all the way till 9 p.m. Otherwise, next week, I look forward to giving you some feedback from the National Cybersecurity Conference and Expo that I'll be at tomorrow. Until then, it's been a pleasure. Bye-bye.
Tune in next time for Africa Tech Kin on ZFM Stereo, discussing all things tech.